Cryptocurrencies create cults by default. And in this video, I want to show you why that's the case. And quite frankly, share with you why it's a requirement, why it needs to happen. And this is also one of those things where in kind of a ironic type of way, this very phenomenon proves and illustrates the one critical flaw with cryptocurrencies as a whole. Now, to give some context here, I've made a couple social media posts, and if you've ever not even necessarily made social media posts, but cruise around social media, you will see that people that are in cryptos, people that are in, NFTs, all these sorts of dynamics, they have a really firm belief. They, dare I say, get a little defensive, get a little uptight if you question at all any sort of dynamic, any sort of area towards the cryptocurrency market. Sometimes it's a single currency, which I'll get to in a little bit. But if you question anything, they get very uptight. And I'm going to show you an example of this. This way, I'm not just making stuff up. But I'm assuming that you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've spent really any amount of time. But why is this? Why is this? There's this cult mentality. So let me show you, let me take a step back. Let me first just talk with you about a post that I did. And like I said, this is the premise of it. There are no flaws to it. And that may sound very arrogant, but it's actually basic. So it's not like I'm some sort of great economist or great philosopher. It's quite basic. So I have a question for you. This is a firearm, right? Let's say that not a single person in the world believes that there is value here. Not a single person. Does that mean that this carries no value? Does that mean that I cannot defend my family with this? Of course not. You realize that. Because what you realize is, well, Clay, this is not dependent on other people's belief of value. This has value. This has the ability to protect your family regardless of what other people believe it to be. Very simple premise. So that was my point is, okay, that's what I would call real value. Because real value is something that does not depend on other people's belief in that value. Whereas, let's look at a crypto. Let's say not a single person in the world believes in a cryptocurrency that you own. Does that still have real value? No, there is quite literally nothing you can do with it because the only thing that you could have done with it is exchange it for something to, purchase. Well, but if nobody else in the world believes in it, then it's quite literally worthless. So therefore, crypto does not have real value per that definition. That was what I was getting across. And then I had some interactions, and then somebody decided to drop me a private message on Facebook, and it just goes to illustrate this cult-like mentality, but in this person's defense, they're doing what they need to do. So let's get to a couple of these messages that were sent to me. So the first message, he is saying, my intention is to stop the FUD, meaning fear, uncertainty, doubt, and show people what crypto is all about. So what is his intention? To basically get people to believe or to get people to keep believing, right? To stop the FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. I need people to keep believing or to show people what it's all about. Let me translate that. I want to convince people. I want to get other people to say, oh, wow, that is pretty cool. So in other words, two things are going on. One is the preservation of belief. The other is a creation of more belief. That's what this person just said their intention is. And again, I get it. I understand. You have to do what you have to do. But what this person realizes, and whether it's subconscious or not, but they are behaving in this manner. They are so defensive to the fact that they're going to go out and start to message people because they realize that the value of their investment is strictly dependent on other people's belief. So yes, they're going to need to preserve, to guard that belief. They don't want that FUD to show up because what happens if people start to not believe? What happens if people start to get scared and decide, I don't want this crypto? What happens to that person's, investment? It's going to go down in value. So yes, they need to be out there preserving belief. The other side of things, well, I'm trying to, tell people, show people what it's all about. Okay, well, what does that do for that person if they create more belief? Well, that would create a buyer, which helps that person out. So yeah, you better believe that people have a cult-like mentality when they understand that quite literally everything is based on belief. Case in point, let's say somebody showed up and on social media was like, I don't believe in oxygen. Like, is anybody really going to show up and be like, well, I'm going to defend the value of oxygen? Well, no, of course not, because nobody cares. Like, if you don't believe in oxygen, okay, maybe I'll attend your funeral. Like that doesn't even make any sense. Nobody's going to defend something like that because Well, everybody knows that, well, whether or not you believe in oxygen, that doesn't take away any sort of value from what oxygen provides, right? Basic concept, but there's a reason why this person is so dependent. So I got to defend, got to preserve the belief, create more belief. The next message, crypto is here to stay. Now, this is where the person reveals a lack of understanding because, okay, let's say that I operate under that premise that crypto is here to stay, crypto is going nowhere. What crypto? In other words, what coin? There are thousands of coins. So I won't refute the fact that, yeah, crypto is here to stay, but are you sure you have the coin that people are going to continue to believe in, that are always going to believe in? Are you sure you have that coin? Because there's thousands of them out there. No, yes, I realize there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and there's one where right now there seems to be leaders, but who's to say that some other sort of coin doesn't pop up all of a sudden that starts to hog and take away the belief from these other coins, right? So that is why within the world of crypto itself, there's all sorts of cults that are fighting with each other. Why are cults fighting with each other? Because they understand, again, whether they want to actually believe or acknowledge it, but deep down they realize that, well, if more people believe in that coin, then, well, my coin, because there's no value here, I mean, other than the fact that I need other people to believe in my coin, it's going down. So yeah, that's where you have the warring cults within cryptocurrency market itself. So yeah, saying that crypto is here to stay, that does nothing to refute any sort of argument. It just shows like you still don't quite understand the argument of what a real asset is. It's just like a stock in this way. There can be, just because there's a stock, okay, that's great, but there can be plenty of other stocks that all of a sudden pop up, other companies, right? Competition. That's why a free market, right? Competition. Cryptocurrency has competition. There's always new coins popping up. Most of them absolute garbage. But the fact of the matter is, that's why people fight amongst the community itself, because at the core, well, if more people start to believe in that coin as opposed to my coin, well, I'm literally losing my investment. My investment is going down. So it's a fight of belief. Whereas, is there a fight of belief here? No. This thing works regardless of if other people believe in it. And then they end things off. I will be sure to mention you on my next YouTube video over this. Now, I hope they do, and I hope they give the full context of my argument, because my argument, like I said, is very basic. It's not rocket science. I mean, certain things have quote-unquote real value as I've defined. Other things don't. But this just goes to show again, I applaud this person's passion. They are upset. I'm gonna roast you. Okay, that's fine. I would expect nothing less. This person, and I would also say, now I should have said this beginning, so let me throw this in here before I forget, that I'm not saying this about all crypto people, but the people that are part of the cults are the ones where they have way too much money in because they are so nervous. I don't want to say they go all in, but that they have way more than what should be. They are not diversified, and they have, again, I can't say they put their livelihood into it, but you can very tell by the nature of how defensive they are, by how uptight they are, that yeah, you have way too much invested in this. You are way too worried about it. So if you do have a minor amount where you're like, Clay, I am in crypto, but I'm not a cult. I don't call people out. I don't get upset if somebody says my coin has no value. My guess is, well, that's probably because you've done the right thing. You've diversified. You have very little of your net worth tied into some sort of coin. So I should have made that statement earlier. This is not blanket. I am just saying, though, that, from the perspective of people that really do get defensive, you see it a whole lot out there, and it has to do with all this. But yeah, that final point, I'm going to do a YouTube video about you. Okay, but that just, once again, circles back to the illustration of why is my opinion, not even opinion, just the fact of the matter, but why is that rubbing them such the wrong way? Because they know, oh wow, that could take away from the belief in my coin, in my cryptocurrency. And it just goes to illustrate, it's all one big cult. And to these people's credit, as I know I've said, but I want to give credit where credit is due, they're doing what they need to do because they realize that this is a battle of belief. They need to preserve the belief, and they need to go out there and get more and more belief, because that's the only thing that's going to allow them to actually have value within their investment. So next time, maybe if you got a bunch of crypto people jumping down your throat, if you got a bunch of crypto people jumping at you, or just showing up as kind of like almost a missionary, hey, believe in this cryptocurrency. That's why, because that's the business. That's what brings the true value to their coin or whatever they're selling. But yeah, I just want to get this out there because it is an interesting phenomenon. And the more and more I see it, it's just like, wow, there are some really dedicated people, but this is exactly why. And for me, that somebody grew up like I'm some old person. But when I got started, this would be applied to penny stocks, right? Penny stocks are trash. And the only reason why penny stocks are going to move is if you can get enough people to believe in some little garbage penny stock company. So yeah, same dynamic here. I would say crypto makes those penny stocks things look like child's play, but same general psychological perspective, because at the end of the day, there is no real value. There's no sort of value here that you have in a physical object. It's all literally based on belief. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.